Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
If you don't show up, your ideal clients can't find you. So today in this podcast, we're going to be talking about how to overcome mindset blocks to getting visible. A lot of people, it is actually a common mindset block where people are afraid of being seen or afraid of showing up in their truest sense. It's quite funny because my job is actually being a visibility expert and being a digital marketing strategist, and I've got almost a decade of experience in successfully generating greater awareness, demand, and growth for my clients. All of this entailed for me to be seen. All right, I remember when I started, Facebook had just introduced Facebook Live, and I took it upon myself to create a show, which meant I had to show up every single day at 2 p.m. EST for me to create consistency in the people that were following me then. And it was the need to be seen and that urge to actually be visible that has actually helped me grow my business to where it is right now. So I know you are no stranger to experiencing mindset blocks when it comes to getting visible. Even if you're a coach or consultant or somebody who's used to speaking in public, being seen is just something that a lot of people have a big problem with and a big, mindset block around. And, there's people that would actually say they would rather be in the coffin than be the person giving the eulogy. Okay. So, if you're a coach or consultant that is hell bent and passionate about doing the work that you're meant to be doing and living an inspired life while you're doing that, I guarantee you're in the right place, my friend. My mission is to help coaches and consultants like you to build a brand that you're proud of and create a lifestyle that you absolutely love. And it all starts from being visible. It all starts from being seen. Okay. So I'm hoping by the end of this podcast, we would have gone and addressed, our own mindset blocks on getting visible, knowing that we need to be seen in order for our ideal clients to buy from us. How can people buy from you if they don't know that you exist? Okay. Now, the reason why you are failing to actually get clients right now is probably because nobody knows you exist. All right. If you find yourself cold calling potential clients and having them hang up in your face, or maybe you're sending out hundreds of emails without even getting as much as, hey, thank you so much for reaching out. Or you're wasting thousands of dollars on ad spend without even generating any qualified leads. You, my friend, do not exist in the grand scheme of things or where your clients need you to be. Okay. So the whole emphasis of visibility is, when you've identified your market and you've clarified your message, you need to constantly be in front of your audience in order for them to then purchase from you. And sometimes I know it feels like nobody wants to buy what you're selling. And if you actually rely on your business to put food and pay rent, oh man, it can put an enormous strain on your emotions. And you're usually terrified, of having to give up on your dreams and maybe return to a 9-to-5 job with your tail tucked between your legs if you can't bring in new clients. Now, I want to ask you a question. What is it that you're afraid of, especially when it comes to visibility, especially when it comes for you showing up where your clients are searching? Because I know you are no stranger to experiencing mindset blocks when it comes to getting visible, even if you're a coach or consultant. Okay. Now, when it actually comes to getting visible in business, i.e., putting yourself out there and talking about your work, sharing about your work, like what yours truly is doing right now, the biggest block is usually your own mindset. And I'm speaking from experience here. I remember when I told you that when I got started, I was, doing the Facebook lives and I needed to show up every single time. And the first ones were horrible. I was just so into, how I looked, how I dressed, how I sounded, so much that the value that I was then putting out there did not, equate that whole, anxiety that I was going through. You know what I mean? And I'm speaking from experience here. I've been invited to speak at gigs, that I know they're well, beneath me, but I spend days and days trying to refine my message, changing it, and trying to focus on my slides and things of that nature. All because of the mindset or the blocks that I have, especially about putting myself out there. And ever since I've sort of managed to get my affairs in order, I've actually become a recluse. I've actually stayed a lot behind the scenes, just working with other agencies, working with my clients, and I'm sort of like on a need to know basis, even though I'm out there with the podcast, you know what I mean? But those that have access to me are far and in between, and it's just my clients and my team and a few really close friends of mine. You know what I mean? So that shouldn't, deter you thinking, oh, wait a minute, this guy is always on the podcast. He's always putting himself out there. I too have those mindset blocks. I too have those fears. A lot of it has to do with imposter syndrome. A lot of it has to do with the limiting belief that I still feel like, who am I to be road mapping? I only just came into this country. I didn't grow up here or things of that nature, because, and that's the reason why I'm really passionate about helping coaches and consultants and small business owners grow their business, because I know what it's like to come from nothing. Okay, so I've managed to curb that a little bit, but I still face a few limiting beliefs here, because I was born in Africa, in a small town in Zimbabwe, and for me growing up, life was pretty tough. We didn't have a lot of money and hope, that I would even amount to anything. So you can imagine that little voice is still there in my head. Who are you? Who do you think you are? And things of that nature. And I only changed my way of being when a bright-eyed Australian teacher came to work at my school, and that's when she became my role model. And I've pledged that I will be a role model to other young kids as well, because people need a point of reference. People need a reference point. Okay, because since I didn't even have any role models, can you imagine if that teacher didn't show up in my space? I wouldn't have amounted to anything. Okay, I would have probably just been in Africa. They're doing whatever people they are doing right now without much. I wouldn't have been in your ears right now and helping you create a business that's profitable and enjoyable. Okay, now there's a whole world in front of me and you, with infinite possibilities for people who actually dream big and have the courage to follow their dreams. But that spark needs to be ignited by somebody, or a book, or a mentor, or just about anything. You know what I mean? And that person could be you. You could be that person for somebody else. So you not showing up in somebody's, life, helping them with their health, with their wealth, or with their relationship is costing them a lot more than the pride that you have in yourself, or the insecurities that you might have about showing up. So at the end of the day, I've got a question for you. Who are you to be depriving whoever is supposed to be hearing your information about health or wealth or relationships that could actually save their lives and help them have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. Now that I've pulled you out in the open, let's get started. But let's also look at a refresher, because a lot of people think mindset is like a buzzword, and I used to think that myself as well. Let's do a little bit of a refresher. And what does mindset actually mean? Okay, and I've even heard people like Robin Sharma talking about heart set, and things of that nature. But mindset is very crucial, because who you are, your set of beliefs, everything that shapes who you are right now, how you make sense of the world and yourself, every influence of how you think, how you feel, or how you behave in any situation, that's your mindset. So it's not necessarily something that you just maybe switch on and off. It's exactly how you show up. How you do anything is how you do everything. So that's where your mindset sort of comes into play. And the easiest way to think of your mindset is just your thoughts and your beliefs. Who do you think you are? Or who do people say you are? Or what do you believe of yourself or your achievements and everything else that comes along with it? Because one of the most common places that I see a lot of coaches and consultants struggle with mindset blocks is around the topic of visibility. Okay. And guess what visibility can offer you? Because once you are seen out there, you literally are head and shoulders above the competition, because you can now expand your brand awareness. You can actually gain and maintain a competitive edge against all the other people that are in your industry as well. You can literally crush your toughest competitors because they're not seen enough, and it takes a lot of time for you to actually gain mainstream or street credit notoriety, you know what I mean? And you become an in-demand authority, because people always buy what they're familiar with. Okay, people will always gravitate towards whatever is familiar to them, and if you're constantly seen, guess what, you now become that one person who can dominate and expand your market, because word of mouth and word of mouse can start compounding in your favor, and you can literally stand out without risking your reputation. You know why? Because you've got the results, you've got the reputation that precedes you before you even show up at any place. And once you've got all of that in place, you drive more qualified traffic and leads, you can improve your audience engagement. You know why? You have celebrity status. Okay, and you can actually start attracting a lot more of the ideal clients to your firm. And once they show up, you can easily convert them into prospective clients. And literally, you can grow and scale your business and quickly adapt to any unforeseen, lockdowns or things of that nature. You know why? People will always gravitate towards those that are familiar, those that are known. So as coaches and consultants, we need to address our own mindset blocks to actually getting visible. All right. I'm not necessarily meaning that you have to show up at every networking event. I'm not saying you have to show up at, every, social media argument or group or things of that nature. What I'm just saying is you need to be present where your clients are, or your ideal clients are, so that when the decision comes for them to work with you, you become the most obvious choice for them. So as you know, your mindset actually influences everything that you do in business. How you do anything is how you do everything. Like I laugh at myself during the weekend. I'm like trimming the lawn, the hedges around my house, because I want my house to look good, right? And obviously people will be like, wow, that house looks nice. They must leave some person who literally likes taking care of themselves. And I tell my wife that the same way I'm looking after the outside of the house is the same way I run my business. How you do anything is how you do everything. So your mindset actually influences everything that you do in business, including you actually getting visible and putting yourself out there. And I know it's not easy, especially here in Australia, where we have what's called the tall poppy syndrome. So if you decide to grow bigger or do better than the rest, they will cut you down, and then they will put you down to their level. And guess what they will do? They will beat you with experience because they've been there long enough. Okay. And there are a few reasons why visibility mindset blocks are so common, especially among coaches and consultants. And one thing that happens is the more visible you are, the more vulnerable you literally have to become, or you become, because people get to know you and get to understand where you're from and things of that nature. Just like I just told you my story of how I met this Australian teacher, and it sort of changed my life. A lot of people are not comfortable giving details like that, about their history or their life. They just want you to see what they're showing you in front of them, things of that nature. And, especially when you're a coach or consultant or maybe an entrepreneur, visibility is required. You need to be seen, because how are people going to buy from you if they don't know you exist? All right. That's because you are the one that your clients are actually signing up to work with. So people are signing up to work with your methodology. They're coming for your consulting, your training, your information. It's your expertise that people are coming to buy. And it's your maybe, speaking gigs that people would purchase or would want to experience. All right. So in order for you to attract these clients, you're going to need to establish a bit of trust and a lot of credibility, because why would people want to work with an unfamiliar voice or unfamiliar person without any, familiar results in the marketplace? And the way that you got to build this is by being visible. Okay. And by being visible, I'm not necessarily meaning, just video and pictures or TikToking or things like that. This podcast is being visible. This podcast is my way of creating for and relating to the audience that I'm going to be wanting to work with, later on in life. Okay. One of the things that I've noticed with coaches and consultants as well is that being visible brings up fears of being seen. Now, if you've got a lot of fear, then there's so many other underlying issues there. But as human beings, we respond to two emotions, that of love and that of fear. When we love something, we go full on. And when we fear something, we retreat. You know what I mean? And many of us, especially coaches, we are sort of introvert entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? We may struggle with actually being seen. Yes, we're good at what we're doing. We're good at our modalities. We're good at our NLPs. We're good at our healing and things of that nature. But when it comes to actually us talking about the work that we're doing, it feels like we're bragging, and nobody wants that, okay? And we could go into a myriad of reasons why, but I'll save that for another podcast, all right? The thing to realize is that the fear of being seen is a very common one. Even if you look at kids, if you meet kids for the first time, they're hiding behind their mom because there's just that confrontational fear that people have when they're meeting people for the first time. And can you imagine if you're the one, giving a speech or a pulpit, everybody's sitting down, you're standing on top of them. They can see everything that's happening to you. They're just sitting there and watching you. You know what I mean? Obviously, you will be afraid. So getting visible, whether it's on social media or at a networking event or even a consulting call. I've seen a lot of people that when you consult with them, they don't even put their video on. Do you know what I mean? And I noticed that it actually brings those fears to the surface. Now, can you imagine how you would be connecting with your clients when you can't even connect with other industry professionals on Zoom and things of that nature? People have this fear of being seen, and the more you don't get seen, it makes it difficult for people to connect with you, and people do business with those they know, like, and trust. We all know that, right? And the third thing is, being visible actually means opening yourself up to maybe judgment, or maybe people ridicule your work and things of that nature. Because one of the main concerns a lot of my clients have when it comes to maybe being on social media or TikTok or YouTube is that they fear being judged or maybe being wrong or somebody writing a mean comment, after their work and things of that nature. And this fear can actually be what do you call it? Limiting and actually crippling them, if you're not actually careful. And it can actually stop us from, showing up altogether. And it's important to remember that if you don't show up, your clients are never going to be able to find you, because yes, we're gonna need to be vulnerable. Yes, we're gonna need to, win hearts and get people to know, like, and trust who we are. So, how then can we then do this? And I've sort of discovered there's about 5 common mindset blocks that actually stop people from being visible in business. And throughout my experience, I've come across these to be the most debilitating things that people would stop in their tracks before they even get seen out there in public. And they are the 5 most common mindset blocks to getting visible that I see in a lot of my work with coaches, consultants, even creatives who have the best work out there, but they still have that maybe imposter syndrome or maybe comparing themselves with other people. So let's start off with imposter syndrome. And this is a big one. Have you ever wondered to yourself, who am I to be doing this? Who am I to be giving this information? Who am I to be consulting for this huge company? Who am I to be training? Who am I to be giving out all this information? Because imposter syndrome is that feeling that you feel like you're a fraud, or you're not good enough, or you're not educated enough, or whatever enough you can think of, and that you're going to be found out at any moment, and that you don't belong to whatever club you've just signed up to, or things of that nature. I often see a lot of imposter syndrome, especially with newbies or new entrepreneurs, or those who are maybe going into the next level because they just feel like they're not enough. And this is a big mindset block, because imposter syndrome is a mindset block because if you believe the thought that I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I don't have the right clothes, or I don't have the right voice, things of that nature. For me, it used to be I don't have the right skin color to be doing what I'm doing. You're not going to feel worthy or take any action that will align with your worth. And you're not going to see the results in your business simply because you're stopping yourself before you even begin. Have you ever try to go on some sort of a slide and you're like, oh my God, I don't think I'm brave enough to do this. But then when you do go down that slide, is that most exhilarating experience ever. That's what imposter syndrome is usually like. You feel like you're not tall enough, you're not big enough, you're not strong enough, or well-read enough, or you don't have the right things to say, the right connections, all of that stuff. It is a mindset block that you need to get rid of. And if you do, you, my friend, are going to start seeing the results that you're expecting in your business. And then, while people have this imposter syndrome, they're also, stopping themselves by comparing themselves to other people. And I call this comparisonitis. All right. You hear that Jeff Bezos just flew out to space, or Elon Musk just started a new company just because he got bored, and you start looking at yourself and thinking, I've been doing this for 4 years. Why am I not getting the results? Well, because you don't have the connections that he has. You don't have, the family that he has. You don't have the location that he has. You don't have the alumni that he has. You don't have the cigar buddies that he has. All of that stuff. Have you ever popped on social media and a few minutes later you believe that everybody appears to be having a more successful and happier life than you? Yeah, This is comparisonitis, okay? A word that should be in the dictionary right now. When you start comparing yourself to every other person that you went to school with or every other person who's in the same industry as you, and when comparison kicks in, you actually lose sight of the motivation to maybe share a post or be on a podcast like this, because you might listen to me and think, wait a minute, I won't be able to speak like he does. Or I'll be thinking, I can't speak like how Tony Robbins speak. Well, he's Tony Robbins. I'm Prosper. I had to learn English, and this is the best I could do with what I can do. So whoever doesn't feel like this is right for them, they might not be the right person for me. Okay, so you will stop engaging with potential clients, and you probably log off and you feel dejected before even speaking to anyone. And it's a problem of your own, because if you don't show up, your clients are not going to know that you exist. If you don't show up, your clients are not going to know what you're offering. If you don't show up, your clients are not going to hear your message. So comparisonitis is actually a mindset block, because, when you have it, it's a false belief that everybody else is doing better than you, and you actually feel bad about yourself, and you don't take actions to grow your business. Whose fault is it? Everybody else that you're comparing yourself against is doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're not stopping. They're not losing sleep over you maybe trying to be perfect all the time and things of that nature. Speaking of which, perfectionism is another one. It's a big, big mindset block, because how much time do you actually spend on maybe a single social media post or a video or podcast or things like that? Do you know, I just do one take with my podcast, whether I'm or whatever it is. I know I've got one theme, one message, and if I, maybe mince my words or whatever it is, but you know what I'm trying to say and you get it. And that's the reason why you always listen to this podcast. So if you agonize on your photos, the copy, the fonts, how your video shows up, how your podcast is, and spending time wanting to perfect it, you could actually be wasting a lot of valuable time that you could actually be using to connect with your clients, to connect with your audience, and maybe your vendors and people that could actually help you grow your business. I kid you not, I'm not a stranger to being a perfectionist, but it's not always a great quality in business, because you miss out on actually executing because you want everything to be perfect. And perfectionism is a myth. Do you know what I mean? It is actually a mindset block, because it can actually make you think that something, especially everything, needs to be perfect before you can put it out there. And let me tell you something, spoiler alert, it will never be perfect. Nothing will ever be perfect. If it was, then each and every one of us wouldn't be showing up every single day, because, hey, listen to the sound in this podcast. It's not like professionally created. I'm doing this from my office, and all I'm just going to do is upload this onto some platform where you're going to be listening it from. And if you're going to be afraid of criticism, then maybe you're in the wrong business. I mean, it's human to be afraid of criticism and judgment. You know what I mean? Is it gonna kill you? Is it gonna? Are the people criticizing you the people paying your bills? You should think about that. But I also realize that a lot of people spend a lot less time thinking about you than you think. Nobody cares. They are worried about their own problems. You know what they're looking at? They're looking for solutions that will actually help them become happier, richer, thinner, and better than other people. They're not worried about you showing up wearing a black dress, and a white t-shirt. So being afraid of criticism or rejection can actually hold you back from putting yourself out there altogether, which means you don't actually connect with those who need what it is that you offer. Remember what I said when I started. Who are you to stop Sally from actually having a happier existence, because you're stopping yourself from putting yourself out there, with your health, your wealth, or relationships that, matter out there, So I understand the fear of criticism, which is usually the fear of being able to handle criticism. Because yes, everyone will be criticized, but if you can't handle it, then that becomes a mindset block. And when it actually causes you to stall out and hide out, instead of you showing up and really, really create something that's meaningful out there. Yeah. So like I said, if you don't show up, your ideal clients can't find you. And you might be asking yourself, then how do I overcome all these mindset blocks and start getting visible? Because once you start getting visible, you literally own a corner of the market where you can literally help your clients be, do, and have a happier existence. All right. So it's super common to be faced with any of these blocks, and it's human. At least you've got feelings, you've arrived, but you can do something about it. Right. The key is to address these blocks, to address this mindset, so you can build your resilience and actually start trusting yourself to be able to provide the service that you say you're going to be providing. And you know what the good news is? That, once you address these blocks, it actually makes it easy, for you to show up. And, you're not even caught up in all this imposter syndrome and things of that nature. So if you're looking for a way to get through all these mindset blocks and actually get visible, I actually invite you to get on to one of our calls, so that we can literally look at exactly what it is that's bothering you. Because half of the things that are bothering you, especially when it's imposter syndrome or when you are worried about perfectionism and things of that nature, is because you're too close to the actual scenario or situation. You know what I mean? And once we work together, we'll work hands-on, okay? And then we'll develop with you a strategic plan, and then deep dive and work through your ideal client clarity. A lot of us are afraid of showing up because we don't know if we're speaking to the right people, and we just don't want to spray and pray with our marketing, all right? And at the end of the day, once you've got the ideal target market, we'll then look at your strategic messaging and look at your consulting offers and your fees and your pricing, and also look at your business model, so that you can show up a lot more than you are right now. And then pretty much after that, we'll help you set up your marketing engine and your lead generation system, so that you can consistently attract the right kind of people with the right kind of pain, which will help you see what it is that you can do. So let me tell you something. If you're going to take every unfollow, every unsubscribe, or every client who doesn't sign up as personal failure, you're going to have a difficult time weathering the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. So I really want you to start looking at all of this mindset, and know that being visible is the only gateway to you creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable. I can't wait to see you out there, and also see what you do with this information right now. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au.